Hi, I'm Catherine Allen from Interpret America, and this is InterpreTIPS, where we answer your questions about the interpreting profession. Today's question comes from Sandy. It describes a particularly difficult experience during a telephonic interpreting assignment. During that call, the client refused to let the interpreter interpret or to let the provider answer questions or respond. And this was even after the interpreter had made multiple attempts to intervene and to redirect the client's communication. So finally, the interpreter had to let the provider know what the nature of the problem was. Well, Sandy, I bet there are a lot of heads bobbing right now in agreement and recognition of this problem because it's happened to them too as they've had these kinds of assignments. I applaud the interpreter here for correctly applying professional mediation techniques to try to redirect the client's communication and to let the provider know what the problem was. But what happens when our interventions don't work? Because often they just don't work. And that's what happened here. This is where I find that interpreters often hold unrealistically high expectations of themselves. And in fact, expectations that can go outside of the interpreter's role itself. I find that it's easy to confuse our responsibility to manage the flow of the communication with the idea that we somehow need to manage our clients. Many times I've heard interpreters complain or say they struggle with managing their LEP or managing their provider. But frankly, this just goes way beyond our role as professional interpreters. So let's be crystal clear. The people in charge of the communication are the people who are trying to have a conversation with each other, not with you, the interpreter. The interpreter can step in to manage the flow of the conversation, the pacing, to intervene for clarification, and in some settings, the interpreter can also use intervention or mediation techniques in order to point to a misunderstanding. But in this case, it was definitely the provider's role to step in when the interpreter could not manage the flow and take charge of the communication and either terminate the call or find an alternate solution to the breakdown in communication. So remember, when a communication doesn't turn out well, even after you have applied all the professional intervention and other strategies that are available to you in the setting you're working with, that is not a failure. The ultimate responsibility for communication belongs to the people you interpret for, not you. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for joining us here at InterpreTIPS, and we'll see you next time.